Good morning, America! This is Ted of Hansock's Daily News reporting to you this morning. This just in, August 18th, 1781, a slave ship left Ghana with more than 450 slaves, which is more than the average ship can hold. Once they reached the Caribbean island, they missed their stop for water refill because they thought Jamaica was the Dominican Republic. Eventually, they figured out that they missed their stop. However, they were 300 nautical miles away. It would take around 10 to 13 days to reach Jamaica. So they just threw 130 slaves overboard to save water. Ironically, a few hours later, it started to rain. A court case was ensued on March 6, 1783, actually, my bad. None of the crew was prosecuted of the murder of the slaves. It is clam day at sea. The boat crew is wondering why it's taking so long to reach Jamaica. The crew realize they passed Jamaica and are about to run out of water. They decide to throw off the slaves off the ship to save water. Next, crew members are throwing slaves off the ship. Slaves are begging not to be thrown off. Crew members don't listen, and the slaves are being thrown off. Then fast forward a bit, and then it starts to rain. Hello, I am Ted of Hansock's Daily News. I have some questions for you, man. So, question 1. What did you hear other slaves say when they were begging to be not thrown off?
A lot of them agreed that they would not eat food in exchange of staying on the boat, but the crew didn't care about what we said.
My second question is, how are you able to stay on the boat out of everyone else?
I was one of the luckier ones. I was a bit more healthy than the rest, and I hid in one of the corners as the other slaves were getting pulled up and thrown out of the ship. Sample text.
And my last and final question is, how was the rest of the trip?
Well, they treated us even worse than before, less water and almost no food. Right after the slaves were thrown off, it started to rain, but they didn't bother to think about all the slaves that died.
Finally, the Zong massacres helped stir up abolition movements in Britain. The Trade of Act of 1788 was established because of the massacre, which urges other countries to abolish slavery. Don't worry, folks, we have more news coming right up in about 1.5 seconds. Thank you, Ted. Disaster strikes in Cincinnati this afternoon. Margaret Garner was a previous house slave owned by John Pollard Gaines. Gaines was a previous Congress member. Conflicts between Garner and Gaines were very apparent. Garner strategized a way to leave the plantation and become a free slave. She escaped with her 4 children to Cincinnati to her uncle's house. However, although the plan was successful, the outcome was not. Slave catchers were able to track Garner. Due to this, she tried to murder her children. She felt it was not worth having her children grow up in this environment. I appreciate that insight, Ted. I'm here with Margaret Garner. I have a few questions about your decisions. My first question is, what was the leading conflict between you and Mr. Gaines?
The main problem I had with him was the amount of work he felt was appropriate to give me. Ended up working myself to the bone. He knew I had to leave.
Makes sense, understandable. My second question is, what hardships did you run into when escaping?
The main fear was walking around during the night in the woods. I didn't know if slave catchers were after me. I just kept running.
Okay, and my biggest question here is, do you regret trying to kill your children and then yourself?
I don't regret it. In fact, I wish it happened. I am in a worse state now than what I was before. Top text.
Okay, thank you for your time. And back to Ted in the office. Yes. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. Was her violence justified? Here at Hansock's Daily News, we say yes. Would you want your younger sibling, worse, even your own children living in this country, for them to be used like livestock? I don't think you do. I don't really think you do. I personally don't, but I'm kind of a horrible person in the first place. But we don't talk about that anyways. This has been Ted of Hand Socks Daily News. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Probably not.
I don't want to go tomorrow, I can study thinking about you. And you know I always do. I don't want to go to sleep tonight when I can stay up thinking about you. And you know I always do.